An abandoned Chinese space station is hurtling out of control towards Earth. Scientists say every continent but Antarctica is a possible target for the 8-ton space station. That includes most of the U.S. Chip Reid is at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. This is a model of Skylab, the U.S. space station that fell out of orbit in 1979. Parts of it rained down on Australia, and something like that could happen this time around. But don't put your worry face on, because the chances of actually getting hit by debris are 10 million times smaller than getting hit by lightning.
Bus breakup.
Tiangong-1's final moments will look something like this.
Nice flashes. Oh, wow.
A shower of glowing debris, similar to this Japanese spacecraft that ended its space odyssey in 2010. When it begins its re-entry, Tiangong-1 will be whizzing along at 4 miles a second. The solar panels will shear off first, then the orbiter itself will break apart. Most of the components will be incinerated and never reach the Earth, but some parts could survive, creating a debris field about 400 miles long and 30 miles wide.
We won't know even the day of the event where it's going to be exactly.
Bill Ayler, a fellow at the Aerospace Corporation, says it's possible large pieces of Tiangong-1 could end up on the ground, like this 500-pound chunk of a rocket that crashed near a Texas farmhouse.
Before this one came down, people said, these things don't survive. This one proved that they did.
Lottie Williams is the only known person to be hit by space debris. The Oklahoman was not hurt in the 1997 incident.
It rolled off my shoulder onto the ground, and it sounded metallic.
The European Space Agency says about 8,000 tons of debris is orbiting the Earth, including satellites and metal fragments left over from collisions and explosions. George Washington University space expert John Logsdon says satellites are usually dumped into the South Pacific once they're obsolete.
Bottom of that ocean is full of dead satellites. The problem here is that China has lost control, and so you can't fire retro rockets or control where it comes down.
We won't have a good idea of where the Tiangong-1 will crash until about a day before it happens. And if you do happen to come across it, don't breathe the vapors and don't touch it, because it could have toxic substances. Norah?
Well,
goodness,
Chip, that sounds like a reason to have on your worry face.
Yes. As long as there's one Lottie Williams out there who got hit back in 97, yes. I'm concerned.
Yeah, kind of got on my worry face. All right.
Watch out for space junk.
There you go.
Chip, thank you again.